Hi folks. So in last video, we discussed about what is a component and what is a module, and I hope you are clear on what is a component and what is a module. But still, let me bring this up again. So a component is something that can be a building block, we can say. So these cards can be a component. So for example, these are the cards that we need multiple times. Like here, we need it multiple times, so we can make it a component and we can reuse it. That's the concept of component. And then module is like a bucket, as we had discussed. So in some bucket we place some modules. So that was all the theoretical part, but now we are going to discuss we are going to see how we implement that in a code. Okay, so this is a very basic a new Angular project I have created. I have done nothing, so just to show you. So I have just created a new project, new the project name. So the project is here. Okay, and if you will create a new Angular project and you will run that, you will see this this page by default. Okay, and if you have any doubt like how to create an Angular project, I have the first video in this series for the Angular project setup, so you can go and watch that. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see how we can implement a component and module in a project. Okay, so this is a very new project. If you see this, we have this src, and inside this we have this app folder, and as you can see, this is there is a by default component when you create an Angular project, which is this app component.html. So you can see it has three files: app component.html, css, which is the SCSS, which is the preprocessor of CSS that we are using, and then it has a spec.ts, which is for the unit testing, and it has a ts file for the logic thing. Okay, and also we have this app module, which is we are going to discuss as we discussed, there is a concept of module, so we will know what is this app module, and then there is a routing module. Okay, we'll go everything one by one. So let's first try to understand. Let's first go here, the app component.html, and we'll remove everything it has. Okay, and just for the sake of simplicity, I'll just place a hi there. Okay, and if I'll save this and if you'll go to my browser, I'll see hi there. So everything that we are seeing was from this app component.html. Okay, so this is the very basic component, or you can say the first step or the first component of a basic Angular project is the app component. And we'll so as we have discussed in the last video, every component needs to be a part of a module, or a part of that bucket that we discussed. Okay, so that module in this case is this app module, and how we'll know that this component is a part of this module? So we can see that in this declaration section, as you will see in this app module, there is a declaration array. So this is an array, correct? So in this declaration array, there is a component listed, which is the app component, which means that this component is under this module. Okay, every component needs to be part of this module as for earlier Angular, but in latest Angular there is a new concept of standalone components. That's a whole different story. So as we are now on the on the basic course of Angular, we can consider that a module needs to be part of a component needs to be a part of a module, and we do that in this declaration part. Okay, that's fine, pretty much of it. So we'll try to create a new component, and we'll see how to create a new component in Angular. Okay, so first I'm here in this app folder. What I'll do is I will just open an integrated terminal over here where I can create a component. And to create a component, I have the command from Angular, ng generate, okay, component, and I can give it a name. For example, let's say I need a header component. Okay, I'll hit enter, and as you can see what it did, it created a header component.css or SCSS, and created HTML, created a spec.ts for the unit testing, and also updated the module name, the component name in the app module. Okay, if you now will go to the app module, you can see the header component is there. So by default, the new component now is a part of this app module, as there is only this one module in this project. Okay, by default, when you will create a new Angular project, there will be one module only, but we can create as many modules as we want. Okay, that's something we'll see later. As of now, we created a new component, and we'll see how this works. Okay, so there is, if you open that header component, there is something header that works, but if you go here, the header that works is not showing. Why? Because we created a component, but anyway we are not linking that to our app component.html, because Angular shows the whatever we have in the app component only, then how it will show the app one. Okay, so if we'll try to analyze a component, this is a component, header is a component, correct? So if you go to this ts file, we can see that it has some selector. So wherever in the project you want to use this component, you can do that by the help of this selector. Okay, so what I'll do is, if I'll just copy that selector and I'll go here in the app component, and after that header, I will use this as a HTML tag only. Okay, app header, so whatever is there, the selector, I will use that, okay, in the app component. If I'll save this, now you can see header works. Okay, so this is how we can create multiple component and we can link that. So what I'll do is, now I'll create another component, ng generate component. For there is short form, you can use ng for generate, c for component. Let's create another component called footer. Okay, so it will create a component footer. Now if I want to use that footer, what I will do, I will just copy the selector file and I will add that like this, and maybe I will just cut this, so header is on the top, then the content, and then footer. Okay, it's cool. Okay, so this is how we create a component. And by default also, if you'll see, this footer component is now a part of this module. Okay, now we'll see the concept of like how we can create a module. Now we know how we create a component, but now if we have by default we have one module, app module. Okay, but if you want another module, what will you do? Ng generate, okay, g for generate, or we can write g any generate. Okay, like we are mentioning component, we can mention module. Okay, let's create a module for the, let's say, authentication. Okay, fine, I will keep all the logic or all the components for the login only. Okay, so I created a module, ng generate module. So what it did is, it created a new module, authentication module. Okay, we'll see this authentication. So but when you are creating a component, it was generating like these 4 files, but in a module it created only 1 file. Okay, this is a module similar to the app module. If you'll see if you'll go to the app module, we'll see this is the like class app module, then it has some declaration, imports, providers, like, correct? So it has some declaration, imports, and if you need any providers or anything, you can use that. So what we did is we created 2 components, but these 2 components are a part of this app module only, but we now created a new module. Okay, and now we want to create a component which should be a part of this module. Okay, but for that, we need to have a routing for this module as well. So if you'll see, like we have the app module.ts, it has its own routing file. Okay, routing file. So what we can do is, we can just create it. Instead of creating another routing file, what I can do is, I can just maybe create something like this. Okay, I can import routes. Okay, and what I can do is, if you'll see in the app module, what it was doing was, it was saying that okay, just a moment, imports, what will import? We will import router module. Okay, dot for child, and I will pass this routes. Okay, let me explain what I did. Okay, so we created an array, and that array to be linked to this module, we need to do this. As it is a child module, so the parent module is the app module only, and this is the child module, so we need to do this thing. Okay, so if you're not getting this, don't worry, we will discuss more on this, because these are the big topics, and as we are making a fast forward course, so I'm explaining all them along with, but there is no problem, no need to worry, we'll discuss them later as well. Okay, so now we created this route. So now what we have to do is, we have to create a component under this authentication module. Okay, so what we'll do is, I'll just open a terminal over here, and what I'll say is ng generate component, or let's say login component. Okay, I'm going to create a login component. So if you'll see now, what it did is, it updated that in the authentication module, but earlier what it was doing was, it was updating in the app module. Why? Because I just now opened the terminal inside this module only, like, right, correct? You can see my terminal path, I am inside the authentication, and I have the route set up. That's why it created the login component inside this module. But that we can do another thing as well. Let me show you. If I'll create another component maybe for the sign off, and I can do like this, module equals to authentication. I can also pass this flag to say sorry, to say that under which module you need to create a component. So if I'll do that, this also will create a component here. Okay, and but if we'll do like module equals to app, okay, so in this case it will create this component under the app module. I hope it's clear. Now what we learned today is we created two component under the app module. How? Like we use this ng generate component command, and how we can see that this footer and header now is a part of this declaration array of this app module. Okay, in app module we have a declaration array, and inside that we have this header and footer. Okay, so these two components are a part of this app module, and we created another module which is the authentication module. Okay, and there are two more components, login and sign up, which are the part of this authentication module only. It don't have any relation with this app module. Okay, so it is going to be a long video because it's already this much long. So in this video we saw how we create a component and a module, and in the later video we'll discuss how we can set up the routing and more on routing. So more on the routing setup we can say. So that's all for this video. Thank you for staying connected. Bye guys. Thank you.